Y'all, make sure you like this like, make sure you leave them comments, and don't be a hater. If you feeling my videos, hit the subscribe button. Alright, let's talk about some real shit in this video. I'm letting y'all know, I'm not playing. I ain't fucking playing about this fight going down. Dana White is 100% officially fucking with boxing. It's gonna be some boxing matches down the future, thanks to Floyd Mayweather and Dana White. They opened up a lane to get UFC versus boxing. The only thing I'm having a problem with is any boxers gonna go to the UFC and fight. Is any boxers gonna go to the octagon, or is Dana White just cool with having all his UFC fighters come to boxing? It was different with Floyd Mayweather, because at least Floyd Mayweather is a very big draw. But let me tell you guys this. I could see Wilder making a significant amount of money in facing Brock Lesnar. You guys, even though Brock Lesnar been stopped before by UFC fighters, etc., Brock Lesnar still has a very big fan base, y'all. A very big one. And I'm letting y'all know right now, Deontay Wilder claims he is willing to go to the UFC, to the octagon, to face Brock Lesnar. Could that fight even happen? You guys, before I discuss that fight happening in the octagon or in the boxing ring, how can it happen, etc., let's just hear it from the horse's mouth himself that this shit is really possible. This shit is probable. Alright, you guys, listen in.
Brock Lesnar is like Deontay Wilder. I want you in a boxing ring.
Well, it's a difference than it's a difference than being crazy now. I mean, if the price is right, of course. Hey, why not?
So who wins that fight? You or Brock?
I mean, I wins, of course. I'll go to the octagon with him on that one.
Is that right? No, you wouldn't.
And notice that is like, don't get it twisted. I'm not mad at Deontay Wilder, but he kind of started smiling when he said that. And like, motherfucker, I'll go to the octagon. He started giggling. But I don't know about going to the octagon, because that's a big risk. And he can make, let me tell you right now, he can make a significant amount of money off going to the octagon to face Brock. But that'd be dangerous, y'all. But then again, you know what? I'll talk about it in a minute.
You would not.
Why wouldn't you? Why not?
You would go to the
Why
octagon?
wouldn't I? Why wouldn't you think I would?
I'm more just in shock because you're just such a talented boxer.
Well, and I'm also a talented fighter as well, too, when it comes to the UFC as well, too. I have many friends that do it as well, then,
Should we send this tape to Dana White?
Yeah.
Well, send it.
Are you going to knock him out or make him tap out?
We go both.
Both at the same time.
There you go.
Oh, but I guess you have to make him tap out first, and then you have to knock him out for that to make sense, right?
Before he's unconscious.
Now, you see that laugh, y'all? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a big Deontay Wilder fan. That's my guy. But that looked like I ain't serious about going to the octagon type of laugh. Like, it maybe could have been a joke. Like, I ain't finna go to no goddamn octagon to fight him. And he don't fucking have to at the end of the day, y'all. And that's just real shit. But I'm letting you guys know. First of all, before I do this, I just made a recent video. And before I talk about that fight, Brock Lesnar versus Deontay Wilder fighting in the octagon and in the actual boxing ring, let me just give a shout out. Shouts out to Would Be More TV. He said, I believe Dana could do good in boxing. I believe so as well. As you guys know, Brock Lesnar and Wilder, I mean, he already started off good, even though it was Floyd Mayweather. I mean, we believe he would do good in boxing, but he has already done good in boxing. Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather was a very big event. It made a lot of money. So he has already done well in boxing. So of course he can keep doing well in boxing. That's how you're supposed to put it. With that to be said, well, that's how we're supposed to put it. Because we both believe that he would do well in boxing. But I think he will keep doing well in boxing. That's a better way to say it. With that to be said, shout out to my guy AD Solo. You know, this guy had been supporting me for a while. I remember we had a difference in the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence fight. I was picking Kell Brook. He was picking Errol Spence. And he told me, he said, you know, I'll fuck with you, loved one. Even though I disagree with your pick, we good. And so ever since then, you know, I fuck with AD. With that to be said, I'm letting you guys know. Let me just say one thing. I always stated that to you guys. I always stated that. I feel that nobody could fuck with Errol Spence except Kell Brook. But they don't like to say that though. With that to be said, shouts out to AD Solo. And let me read you guys what he said in this video. He said, damn, Brock have boxing skills? Question mark. Me personally, I will say Brock Lesnar, he has to have some type of boxing skill. And even if he don't have boxing skill, he for sure have martial arts skill. And he has a whole lot of power. And he could make that fight exciting based off just that alone. Okay? With that to be said, in my head, this sounds like an easy fight for Wilder. But is it an easy fight? I think Wilder will destroy Lesnar. I mean, I won't be surprised. I'll be definitely picking Wilder in that fight. But let me tell you this, AD. You could argue and say Brock Lesnar is the hardest puncher that Lesnar had ever faced. I mean, not Lesnar. You guys know I edit shit. That Wilder has ever faced. Another thing is this. And Wilder just fight. If he just end up fighting Lesnar in the UFC, if he just end up fighting Wilder in the UFC, shit, he's way more of a bigger draw than fighting him in the motherfucking boxing ring. I'll tell you guys that. But let's just talk about the actual fight before I get up off this motherfucking camera. As far as the fight, and as you guys can see the title here, this fight can really happen, you guys. Don't get it twisted. So with that being said, if this fight happened in the UFC, I think that's bad news for Wilder. Not saying he can't win in the octagon. I'm just saying, being that he's able to get slammed, you know, and Deontay Wilder has hand problems, which means he needs as much padding on those fists as much as possible. Okay? And we all know in the octagon they don't have very much padding on the gloves, if any. Okay? Another thing is too, man, it's just too much in the UFC. You have to be really trained for the UFC, just like you got to be trained for boxing. It's the same shit with boxing. But in the UFC, it's just extra because you're going to the floor, submissions, and all type of shit. But let's look at it on the bright side. Even though a lot of people, the Deontay Wilder haters out there, it will make their fucking day for Deontay Wilder to lose even in the UFC. But let me tell you guys this, in all reality, the same way even with Floyd, I don't think Floyd get 100% credit for beating Conor McGregor, because Conor McGregor ain't a real fucking boxer. It will be the same thing with Deontay Wilder. We can't fully bash him for losing to Conor McGregor in the octagon, his first fight in the octagon. I mean, stop it, yo. That's why Floyd Mayweather had to knock out Conor McGregor, because at the end of the day, Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter. Floyd going the distance would never even made sense. Okay, he outboxed Conor. Who gives a fuck? We was telling ourselves, Floyd better stop this dude at the very least. But in the actual boxing match, I could see, this is the problem with the boxing match. It's not even Wilder's ridiculous power. Well, let me say this. It's not only his ridiculous power. It's the fact that Wilder, he has good stamina. He can go the distance. And he carries that power late. I see a late round stoppage by Wilder against Brock Lesnar. Maybe in the 10th round. Facts. Maybe in the 12th. You know, I think if Conor McGregor was gassing, we all know heavyweights gas, period, past the 6th to the 7th round. You have to be a very well-conditioned heavyweight to not gas. And I could see Brock Lesnar going in there brawling with Deontay Wilder, trying to go late. Trying to get him up out of there. And later on in the fight, you know, Deontay Wilder, his good stamina is going to play a factor. And if he hurts Brock Lesnar, you already know it's over. But the good thing for Brock is he has nothing to lose as well. What does Brock have to lose by losing to Wilder? Nothing. It's his first boxing match, and he's going against the world heavyweight champ. But you know, this is fucked up. If boxing wants to face Deontay Wilder, you have to bring somebody from the UFC. That is ridiculous. With that to be said, y'all, I'm not knocking the fight. Let me tell you why I'm not knocking the fight. Because number one, I think it'll be a good money fight. Number two, Brock Lesnar is not a bum at the end of the day. Number three, if this fight could happen, let's say January, February, Wilder he could still possibly have 2 more fights before the year is over. So it's not like this is just another bum he's facing. And another thing is too, it's like it's UFC versus boxing. It's not really like we're counting it at. What I really think, we shouldn't count it on their resume. That's what I really think. I really personally think whenever a boxer fight a UFC fighter, you should just score it as a boxing UFC fight. I know that don't make sense a little bit, but you guys know I'm going with it. Instead of putting it on their boxing record, they could just make it on a separate record. Like, okay, he's 1-0 against a UFC fighter. They should do it like that. But with that to be said, you guys, I thought I'll go in on this for a little bit and just let you guys know this fight is actually getting talked about. This is no bullshit. Alright, you guys, I'm out.